The Shadowy Waters. William Butler Yeats. A dramatic poem. The deck of an ancient ship. At the right of the stage is the mast, with a large square sail hiding a great deal of the sky and sea on that side. The tiller is at the left of the stage. It is a long oar coming through an opening in the bulwark. The deck rises in a series of steps behind the tiller, and the stern of the ship curves overhead. When the play opens, there are 4 persons upon the deck. Ibrox stands by the tiller. Fergale sleeps upon the raised portion of the deck towards the front of the stage. 2 sailors are standing near to the mast, on which a harp is hanging. First sailor. Has he not led us into these waste seas for long enough? Second sailor. Aye, long and long enough. First sailor. We have not come upon a shore or ship these dozen weeks. Second sailor. And I had thought to make a good round sum upon this cruise, and turn, for I am getting on in life, to something that has less ups and downs than robbery. First sailor. I am so tired of being bachelor I could give all my heart to that red mall that had but the one eye. Second sailor. Can no bewitchment transform these rascal billows into women that I may drown myself? First sailor. Better steer home, whether he will or no, and better still to take him while he sleeps and carry him and drop him from the gunwale. Second sailor. I dare not do it. Were't not that there is magic in his harp, I would be of your mind. But when he plays it, strange creatures flutter up before one's eyes, or cry about one's ears. First sailor. Nothing to fear. Second sailor. Do you remember when we sank that galley at the full moon? First sailor. He played all through the night. Second sailor. Until the moon had set. And when I looked where the dead drifted, I could see a bird like a grey gull upon the breast of each. While I was looking, they rose hurriedly, and after circling with strange cries a while flew westward. And many a time since then I've heard a rustling overhead in the wind. First sailor. I saw them on that night as well as you. But when I had eaten and drunk myself asleep, my courage came again. Second sailor. But that's not all. The other night, while he was playing it, a beautiful young man and girl came up in a white breaking wave. They had the look of those that are alive forever and ever. First sailor. I saw them, too, one night. Fergale was playing, and they were listening there beyond the sail. He could not see them, but I held out my hands to grasp the woman. Second sailor. You have dared to touch her? First sailor. Oh, she was but a shadow, and slipped from me. Second sailor. But were you not afraid? First sailor. Why should I fear? Second sailor. Ampersand quo. 'Twas Angus and Edane, the wandering lovers, to whom all lovers pray. First sailor. But what of that? A shadow does not carry sword or spear. Second sailor. My mother told me that there is not one of the ever-living half so dangerous as that wild Angus. Long before her day he carried Edane off from a king's house, and hid her among fruits of jewel stone and in a tower of glass, and from that day has hated every man that's not in love, and has been dangerous to him. First sailor. I have heard he does not hate seafarers as he hates peaceable men that shut the wind away, and keep to the one weary marriage bed. Second sailor. I think that he has Fergale in his net, and drags him through the sea. First sailor. Well, net or none, I'd drown him while we have the chance to do it. Second sailor. It's certain I'd sleep easier o' nights if he were dead. But who will be our captain, judge of the stars, and find a course for us? First sailor. I've thought of that. We must have Ibrox with us, for he can judge the stars as well as Fergale. Going towards Ibrox. Become our captain, Ibrox. I am resolved to make an end of Fergale while he sleeps. There's not a man but will be glad of it when it is over, nor one to grumble at us. Ibrox. You have taken pay and made your bargain for it. First sailor. What good is there in this hard way of living, unless we drain more flagons in a year and kiss more lips than lasting peaceable men in their long lives? Will you be of our troop and take the captain's share of everything and bring us into populous seas again? Ibrox. Be of your troop. Ibrox be one of you and Fergale in the other scale. Kill Fergale, and he my master from my childhood up. If you will draw that sword out of its scabbard, I'll give my answer. First sailor. You have awakened him. To second sailor. We'd better go, for we have lost this chance. They go out. For Gale. Have the birds passed us? I could hear your voice, but there were others. Ibrick. I have seen nothing pass. For Gale. You're certain of it? I never wake from sleep, but that I am afraid they may have passed, for they're my only pilots. If I lost them straying too far into the north or south, I'd never come upon the happiness that has been promised me. I have not seen them these many days, and yet there must be many dying at every moment in the world, and flying towards their peace. Ibrick. Put by these thoughts, and listen to me for a while. The sailors are plotting for your death. For Gale. Have I not given more riches than they ever hoped to find? And now they will not follow, while I seek the only riches that have hid my fancy. Ibrick. What riches can you find in this waste sea where no ship sails, where nothing that's alive has ever come but those man-headed birds, knowing it for the world's end? For Gale. Where the world ends the mind is made unchanging, for it finds miracle, ecstasy, the impossible hope, the flagstone under all, the fire of fires, the roots of the world. Ibrick. Shadows before now have driven travelers mad for their own sport. For Gale. Do you, too, doubt me? Have you joined their plot? Ibrick. No, no, do not say that. You know right well that I will never lift a hand against you. For Gale. Why should you be more faithful than the rest, being as doubtful? Ibrick. I have called you master too many years to lift a hand against you. For Gale. Maybe it is but natural to doubt me. You've never known, I'd lay a wager on it, a melancholy that a cup of wine, a lucky battle, or a woman's kiss could not amend. Ibrick. I have good spirits enough. For Gale. If you will give me all your mind a while, all, the very bottom of the bowl, I'll show you that I am made differently, that nothing can amend it but these waters, where I am rid of life, the events of the world, what do you call it? That old promise breaker, the cozening fortune teller that comes whispering, ampersand quo. You will have all you have wished for when you have earned land for your children or money in a pot. Dash, and when we have it we are no happier, because of that old draft under the door, or creaky shoes. And at the end of all, how are we better off than Seahan the fool, that never did a hand's turn? Ibrick. Ibrick. We have fallen in the dreams the ever-living breathe on the burnished mirror of the world, and then smooth out with ivory hands and sigh, and find their laughter sweeter to the taste for that brief sighing. Ibrick. If you had loved some woman, for Gale. You say that also? You have heard the voices, for that is what they say, all the shadows, Angus and Edane, those passionate wanderers, and all the others. But it must be love as they have known it. Now the secret's out. For it is love that I am seeking for, but of a beautiful, unheard of kind that is not in the world. Ibrick. And yet the world has beautiful women to please every man. For Gale. But he that gets their love after the fashion ampersand quo, loves in brief longing and deceiving hope and bodily tenderness, and finds that even the bed of love, that in the imagination had seemed to be the giver of all peace, is no more than a wine cup in the tasting, and is soon finished. Ibrick. All that ever loved have loved that way, there is no other way. For Gale. Yet never have two lovers kissed but they believed there was some other near at hand, and almost wept because they could not find it. Ibrick. When they have 20 years, in middle life they take a kiss for what a kiss is worth, and let the dream go by. For Gale. It's not a dream, but the reality that makes our passion as a lamp shadow, no lamp, the sun. What the world's million lips are thirsting for must be substantial somewhere. Ibrick. I have heard the druids mutter such things as they awake from trance. It may be that the ever-living know it, no mortal can. For Gale. Yes. If they give us help. Ibrick. They are besotting you as they besote the crazy herdsman that will tell his fellows that he has been all night upon the hills, riding to Hurley, or in the battle host with the ever-living. For Gale. What if he speak the truth, and for a dozen hours have been a part of that more powerful life? Ibrick. His wife knows better. Has she not seen him lying like a log, or fumbling in a dream about the house? And if she hear him mutter of wild riders, she knows that it was but the cart horse coughing that set him to the fancy. For Gale, all would be well could we but give us wholly to the dreams, and get into their world that to the senses shadow, and not linger wretchedly among substantial things. For it is dreams that lift us to the flowing, changing world that the heart longs for. What is love itself, even though it be the lightest of light love, but dreams that hurry from beyond the world to make low laughter more than meat and drink, though it but set us sighing. Fellow wanderer, could we but mix ourselves into a dream, not in its image on the mirror. Ibrick. While we're in the body that's impossible. For Gale. And yet I cannot think they're leading me to death. For they that promised to me love as those that can outlive the moon have known it, had the world's total life gathered up, it seemed, into their shining limbs. I've had great teachers. Angus and Idane ran up out of the wave, you'd never doubt that it was life they promised had you looked on them face to face as I did, with so red lips, and running on such feet, and having such wide open, shining eyes. Ibrick. It's certain they're leading you to death. None but the dead, or those that never lived, can know the ecstasy. For Gale. For Gale. They have made you follow the man-headed birds, and you have told me that their journey lies towards the country of the dead. For Gale. What matter if I am going to my death? For there, or somewhere, I shall find the love they have promised. That much is certain. I shall find a woman. One of the ever-living, as I think, one of the laughing people, and she and I shall light upon a place in the world's core, where passion grows to be a changeless thing, like charmed apples made of chrysoprase, or chrysoberyl, or beryl, or chrysolite. And there, in juggleries of sight and sense, become one movement, energy, delight, until the overburdened moon is dead. A number of sailors enter hurriedly. First sailor. Look there. There in the mist. A ship of spice. And we are almost on her. Second sailor. We had not known but for the ambergris and sandalwood. First sailor. No. But opoponax and cinnamon. For Gale taking the tiller from Ibrick. The ever-living have kept my bargain for me, and paid you on the nail. Ibrick. Take up that rope to make her fast while we are plundering her. First sailor. There is a king and queen upon her deck, and where there is one woman there'll be others. Ibrick. Speak lower, or they'll hear. First sailor. They cannot hear. They are too busy with each other. Look. He has stooped down and kissed her on the lips. Second sailor. When she finds out we have better men aboard she may not be too sorry in the end. First sailor. She will be like a wild cat. For these queens care more about the kegs of silver and gold and the high fame that come to them in marriage, than a strong body and a ready hand. Second sailor. There's nobody as natural but a robber, and that is why the world totters about upon its bandy legs. Ibrick. Run at them now, and overpower the crew while yet asleep. The sailors go out. Voices and the clashing of swords are heard from the other ship, which cannot be seen because of the sail. A voice. Armed men have come upon us. Oh, I am slain. Another voice. Wake all below. Another voice. Why have you broken our sleep? First voice. Armed men have come upon us. Oh, I am slain. For Gale who has remained at the tiller. There. There they come. Gull, gannet, or diver, but with a man's head, or a fair woman's, they hover over the masthead awhile to wait their fiends. But when their friends have come they'll fly upon that secret way of theirs. One, and one, a couple, 5 together. And I will hear them talking in a minute. Yes, voices. But I do not catch the words. Now I can hear. There's one of them that says, Amperson quo. How light we are, now we are changed to birds. Another answers, Amperson quo. Maybe we shall find our heart's desire now that we are so light. And then one asks another how he died, and says, Amperson quo. A sword blade pierced me in my sleep. Dash, and now they all wheel suddenly and fly to the other side, and higher in the air. And now a laggard with a woman's head down crying, Ampersand quo. I have run upon the sword. I have fled to my beloved in the air, in the waste of the high air, that we may wander among the windy meadows of the dawn. But why are they still waiting? Why are they circling and circling over the masthead? What power that is more mighty than desire to hurry to their hidden happiness withholds them now? Have the ever-living ones a meaning in that circling overhead? But what's the meaning? He cries out. Why do you linger there? Why linger? Run to your desire. Are you not happy winged bodies now? His voice sinks again. Being too busy in the air and the high air, they cannot hear my voice. But what's the meaning? The sailors have returned. Dectra is with them. Frigale turning and seeing her. Why are you standing with your eyes upon me? You are not the world's core. Oh no, no, no. That cannot be the meaning of the birds. You are not its core. My teeth are in the world, but have not bitten yet. Dectra. I am a queen, and ask for satisfaction upon these who have slain my husband and laid hands upon me. Breaking loose from the sailors who are holding her. Let go my hands. Frigale. Why do you cast the shadow? Where do you come from? Who brought you to this place? They would not send me one that casts a shadow. Dectra. Would that the storm that overthrew my ships, and drowned the treasures of 9 conquered nations, and blew me hither to my lasting sorrow, had drowned me also. But, being yet alive, I ask a fitting punishment for all that raised their hands against him. Frigale. There are some that weigh and measure all in these waste seas, they that have all the wisdom that's in life, and all that prophesying images made of dim gold rave out in secret tombs. They have it that the plans of kings and queens but laughter and tears, laughter, laughter, and tears. That every man should carry his own soul upon his shoulders. Dectra. You've nothing but wild words, and I would know if you will give me vengeance. Frigale. When she finds out I will not let her go, when she knows that. Dectra. What is it that you are muttering, that you will not let me go? I am a queen. Frigale. Although you are more beautiful than any, I almost long that it were possible. But if I were to put you on that ship, with sailors that were sworn to do your will, and you had spread a sail for home, a wind would rise of a sudden, or a wave so huge it had washed among the stars and put them out, and beat the bulwark of your ship on mine, until you stood before me on the deck, as now. Dectra. Does wandering in these desolate seas and listening to the cry of wind and wave bring madness? Frigale. Queen, I am not mad. Dectra. Yet say that unimaginable storms of wind and wave would rise against me. Frigale. No, I am not mad, if it be not that hearing messages from lasting watchers, that outlive the moon, at the most quiet midnight is to be stricken. Dectra. And did those watchers bid you take me captive? Frigale. Both you and I are taken in the net. It was their hands that plucked the winds away and blew you hither. And their mouths have promised I shall have love in their immortal fashion. And for this end they gave me my old harp that is more mighty than the sun and moon, or than the shivering casting net of the stars, that none might take you from me. Dectra first trembling back from the mast where the harp is, and then laughing. For a moment a raving of a message and a harp more mighty than the stars half troubled me, but all that's raving. Who is there can compel the daughter and the granddaughter of kings to be his bedfellow? Frigale. Until your lips have called me their beloved, I'll not kiss them. Dectra. My husband and me king died at my feet, and yet you talk of love. Frigale. The movement of time is shaken in these seas, and what one does one moment has no might upon the moment that follows after. Dectra. I understand you now. You have a druid craft of wicked sound wrong from the cold women of the sea, a magic that can call a demon up, until my body give you kiss for kiss. Frigale. Your soul shall give the kiss. Dectra. I am not afraid, while there's a rope to run into a noose or wave to drown. But I have done with words, and I would have you look into my face and know that it is fearless. Frigale. Do what you will, for neither I nor you can break a mesh of the great golden net that is about us. Dectra. There's nothing in the world that's worth a fear. She passes Frigale and stands for a moment looking into his face. I have good reason for that thought. She runs suddenly onto the raised part of the poop. And now I can put fear away as a queen should. She mounts onto the bulwark and turns towards Fergal. Fool, fool. Although you have looked into my face, you do not see my purpose. I shall have gone before a hand can touch me. Fergal folding his arms. My hands are still. The ever-living hold us. Do what you will, you cannot leap out of the golden net. First Sailor. No need to drown, for, if you will pardon us and measure out a course and bring us home, we'll put this man to death. Dectera. I promise it. First Sailor. There is none to take his side. Ibrick. I am on his side. I'll strike a blow for him to give him time to cast his dreams away. Ibrick goes in front of Fergal with drawn sword. Fergal takes the harp. First Sailor. No other'll do it. The sailors throw Ibrick on one side. He falls and lies upon the deck. They lift their swords to strike Fergal, who is about to play the harp. The stage begins to darken. The sailors hesitate and fear. Second Sailor. He has put a sudden darkness over the moon. Dectera. 9 swords with handles of rhinoceros horn to him that strikes him first. First Sailor. I will strike him first. He goes close up to Fergal with his sword lifted. Shrinking back. He has caught the crescent moon out of the sky, and carries it between us. Second Sailor. Holy fire to burn us to the marrow if we strike. Dectera. I'll give a golden galley full of fruit, that has the heady flavor of new wine, to him that wounds him to the death. First Sailor. I'll do it. For all his spells will vanish when he dies, having their life in him. Second Sailor. Though it be the moon that he is holding up between us there, I will strike at him. The others. And I. Fergal plays the harp. First Sailor falling into a dream suddenly. But you were saying there is somebody upon that other ship we are to wake. You did not know what brought him to his end, but it was sudden. Second Sailor. You are in the right. I had forgotten that we must go wake him. Dectera. He has flung a druid spell upon the air, and set you dreaming. Second Sailor. How can we have a wake when we have neither brown nor yellow ale? First Sailor. I saw a flagon of brown ale aboard her. Third Sailor. How can we raise the king that do not know what name to call him by? First Sailor. Come to his ship. His name will come into our thoughts in a minute. I know that he died 1,000 years ago, and has not yet been waked. Second Sailor beginning to keen. Oh hon. Oh. The yew-bow has been broken into 2, and all the birds are scattered. All the sailors. Oh. They go out keening. Dectera. Protect me now, gods that my people swear by. Ibrick has risen from the deck where he had fallen. He has begun looking for his sword as if in a dream. Ibrick. Where is my sword that fell out of my hand when I first heard the news? Ah, there it is. He goes dreamily towards the sword, but Dectera runs in it and takes it up before he can reach it. Ibrick sleepily. Queen, give it me. Dectera. No, I have need of it. Ibrick. Why do you need a sword? But you may keep it. Now that he's dead I have no need of it, for everything is gone. A sailor calling from the other ship. Come hither, Ibrick, and tell me who it is that we are waking. Ibrick half to Dectera, half to himself. What name had that dead king? Arthur of Britain. No, not Arthur. I remember now. It was golden-armed Iolan, and he died broken-hearted, having lost his queen through wicked spells. That is not all the tale, for he was killed. Oh. For golden-armed Iolan has been killed. He goes out. While he has been speaking, and through part of what follows, one hears the wailing of the sailors from the other ship. Dectera stands with the sword lifted in front of Fergal. Dectera. I will end all your magic on the instant. Her voice becomes dreamy, and she lowers the sword slowly, and finally lets it fall. She spreads out her hair. She takes off her crown and lays it upon the deck. This sword is to lie beside him in the grave. It was in all his battles. I will spread my hair, and wring my hands, and wail him bitterly, for I have heard that he was proud and laughing, blue-eyed, and a quick runner on bare feet, and that he died 1,000 years ago. Oh, 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 oh. Fergale changes the tune. But no, that is not it. They killed him at my feet. Oh, 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 oh. For golden-armed Iolan that I loved, but what is it that made me say I loved him? It was that Harper put it in my thoughts, but it is true. Why did they run upon him, and beat the golden helmet with their swords? Fergale. Do you not know me, lady? I am he that you are weeping for. Dectera. No, for he is dead. Oh, 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 oh. For golden-armed Iolan. Fergale. It was so given out, but I will prove that the grave diggers in a dreamy frenzy have buried nothing but my golden arms. Listen to that low laughing string of the moon and you will recollect my face and voice, for you have listened to me playing it these 1,000 years. He starts up, listening to the birds. The harp slips from his hands, and remains leaning against the bulwarks behind him. What are the birds at there? Why are they all aflutter of a sudden? What are you calling out above the mast? If railing and reproach and mockery because I have awakened her to love by magic strings, I'll make this answer to it, being driven on by voices and by dreams that were clear messages from the ever-living, I have done right. What could I but obey? And yet you make a clamor of reproach. Dectera laughing. Why, it's a wonder out of reckoning that I should keen him from the full of the moon to the horn, and he be hale and hearty. Fergale. How have I wronged her now that she is merry? But no, no, no. Your cry is not against me. You know the counsels of the ever-living, and all that tossing of your wings is joy, and all that murmuring's but a marriage song. But if it be reproach, I answer this, there is not one among you that made love by any other means. You call it passion, consideration, generosity. But it was all deceit, and flattery to win a woman in her own despite, for love is war, and there is hatred in it. And if you say that she came willingly, Dectera, why do you turn away and hide your face, that I would look upon forever? Fergale. My grief. Dectera. Have I not loved you for 1,000 years? Fergale. I never have been golden-armed Iolan. Dectera. I do not understand. I know your face better than my own hands. Fergale. I have deceived you out of all reckoning. Dectera. Is it not TME that you were born 1,000 years ago, in islands where the children of Angus went in happy dances under a windy moon, and that you'll bring me there? Fergale. I have deceived you. I have deceived you utterly. Dectera. How can that be? Is it that though your eyes are full of love some other woman has a claim on you, and I've but half? Fergale. Oh no. Dectera. And if there be 100 more, what matter? I'll never give another thought to it. No, no, nor half a thought. But do not speak. Women are hard and proud and stubborn-hearted, their heads being turned with praise and flattery. And that is why their lovers are afraid to tell them a plain story. Fergale. That's not the story. But I have done so great a wrong against you, there is no measure that it would not burst. I will confess it all. Dectera. What do I care, now that my body has begun to dream, and you have grown to be a burning sod in the imagination and intellect? If something that's most fabulous were true, if you had taken me by magic spells, and killed a lover or husband at my feet, I would not let you speak, for I would know that it was yesterday and not today I loved him. I would cover up my ears, as I am doing now. A pause. Why do you weep? Fergale. I weep because I've nothing for your eyes but desolate waters and a battered ship. Dectera. Oh, why do you not lift your eyes to mine? Fergale. I weep because bare nights above, and not a roof of ivory and gold. Dectera. I would grow jealous of the ivory roof, and strike the golden pillars with my hands. I would that there was nothing in the world but my beloved, that night and day had perished, and all that is and all that is to be, all that is not the meeting of our lips. Fergale. You turn away. Why do you turn away? Am I to fear the waves, Or is the moon my enemy? Dectera. I looked upon the moon, longing to knead and pull it into shape that I might lay it on your head as a crown. But now it is your thoughts that wander away, for you are looking at the sea. Do you not know how great a wrong it is to let one's thought wander a moment when one is in love? He has moved away. She follows him. He is looking out over the sea, shading his eyes. Why are you looking at the sea? Frigale. Look there. Dectera. What is there but a troop of ash-gray birds that fly into the west? Frigale. But listen, listen. Dectera. What is there but the crying of the birds? Frigale. If you'll but listen closely to that crying, you'll hear them calling out to one another with human voices. Dectera. Oh, I can hear them now. What are they? Unto what country do they fly? Frigale. To unimaginable happiness. They have been circling over our heads in the air, but now that they have taken to the road we have to follow, for they are our pilots. And though they're but the color of gray ash, they're crying out, could you but hear their words, ampersand quo. There is a country at the end of the world where no child's born but to outlive the moon. The sailors come in with Ibrick. They are in great excitement. First sailor. The hold is full of treasure. Second sailor. Full to the hatches. First sailor. Treasure on treasure. Third sailor. Boxes of precious spice. First sailor. Ivory images with amethyst eyes. Third sailor. Dragons with eyes of ruby. First sailor. The whole ship flashes as if it were a net of herrings. Third sailor. Let's home. I'd give some rubies to a woman. Second sailor. There's somebody I'd give the amethyst eyes to. Ibrick silencing them with a gesture. We would return to our own country, Frigale. For we have found a treasure that so great imagination cannot reckon it. And having lit upon this woman there, what more have you to look for on the seas? Frigale. I cannot, I am going on to the end. As for this woman, I think she is coming with me. Ibrick. The ever-living hath made you mad. But no, it was this woman and her woman's vengeance that drove you to it, and I fool enough to fancy that she'd bring you home again. 'Twas you that egged him to it, for you know that he is being driven to his death. Dectera. That is not true, for he has promised me an unimaginable happiness. Ibrick. And if that happiness be more than dreams, more than the froth, the feather, the dust whirl, the crazy nothing that I think it is, it shall be in the country of the dead, if there be such a country. Dectera. No, not there, but in some island where the life of the world leaps upward, as if all the streams of the world had run into one fountain. Ibrick. Speak to him. He knows that he is taking you to death. Speak, he will not deny it. Dectera. Is that true? Frigale. I do not know for certain, but I know that I have the best of pilots. Ibrick. Shadows, illusions, that the shape changers, the ever-laughing ones, the immortal mockers have cast into his mind, or called before his eyes? Dectera. Oh, carry me to some sure country, some familiar single quotar place. Have we not everything that life can give in having one another? Frigale. How could I rest if I refuse the messengers and pilots with all those sights and all that crying out? Dectera. But I will cover up your eyes and ear, that you may never hear the cry of the birds, or look upon them. Frigale. Were they but lowlier I'd do your will, but they are too high, too high. Dectera. Being too high, their heady prophecies but harry us with hopes that come to nothing, because we are not proud, imperishable, alone and winged. Frigale. Our love shall be like theirs when we have put their changeless image on. Dectera. I am a woman, I die at every breath. Ibrick. Let the birds scatter, for the tree is broken, and there's no help in words. To the sailors. To the other ship, and I will follow you and cut the rope when I have said farewell to this man here, for neither I nor any living man will look upon his face again. The sailors go out. Frigale to Dectera, go with him, for he will shelter you and bring you home. Ibrick taking Frigale's hand. I'll do it for his sake. Dectera. No. Take this sword and cut the rope, for I go on with Frigale. I break half falling into the keen. The yew bough has been broken into two, and all the birds are scattered. Oh, 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 farewell, farewell. He goes out. Dectera. The sword is in the rope's in two, it falls into the sea, it whirls into the foam. O ancient worm, dragon that loved the world and held us to it, you are broken, you are broken. The world drifts away, and I am left alone with my beloved, who cannot put me from his sight forever. We are alone forever, and I laugh, for Gale, because you cannot put me from you. The mist has covered the heavens, and you and I shall be alone forever. We two, this crown, I half remember. It has been in my dreams. Bend lower, O king, that I may crown you with it. O flower of the branch, zero bird among the leaves, O silver fish that my two hands have taken out of the running stream, O morning star trembling in the blue heavens like a white fawn upon the misty border of the wood, bend lower, that I may cover you with my hair, for we will gaze upon this world no longer. For Gale gathering Dectera's hair about him. Beloved, having dragged the net about us, and knitted mesh to mesh, we grow immortal. And that old harp awakens of itself to cry aloud to the grey birds, and dreams, that have had dreams for father, live in us,